Everyone feared the rude millionaire's wife, until black waitress made her break down silently. The first time Eleanor Whitmore walked into Bellamy's restaurant, the room didn't just quiet, it stiffened. Forks paused mid-air, conversations thinned into cautious murmurs. Even the chandelier seemed to dim, as if the light itself had learned to step aside. Eleanor Whitmore had that effect on places. She entered with her chin lifted, her heels clicking like punctuation marks at the end of every step. Her coat, cream, tailored, unmistakably expensive, hung perfectly from her shoulders. Beside her walked her husband, Charles Whitmore, a man whose name alone moved markets. He smiled easily, waved at the maitre d', and nodded at familiar faces. Eleanor did none of that. She scanned the room the way a judge surveys a courtroom, cool, appraising, already disappointed. "Corner table," she said, not loudly, but with the kind of certainty that didn't require volume. "Yes, Mrs. Whitmore," the maitre d' replied instantly, already gesturing. Behind the host stand, staff exchanged glances. Not again. Everyone at Bellamy's knew the stories. Eleanor Whitmore sent plates back for being too warm, too cold, too symmetrical. She corrected accents. She sighed dramatically if water wasn't refilled the moment it dipped below halfway. She never raised her voice, but her disappointment was sharper than shouting. Servers drew straws over who would take her table. That night, the short straw landed on Maya Johnson. Maya had been working at Bellamy's for 3 years. She was 26, with tired feet, steady hands, and a smile that had learned how to stay even when the world didn't smile back. She wore her hair pulled neatly into a low bun, her uniform pressed just enough to pass inspection. "Table 12, the floor manager whispered. "The Whitmores." Maya exhaled slowly. She had heard about Eleanor Whitmore long before she ever saw her. Everyone had. Regulars warned new hires like passing down folklore. A woman made of ice. A woman who could ruin your shift with a glance. Maya picked up 2 menus in a calm she'd practiced since childhood. "Good evening," she said as she approached the table. "Welcome to Bellamy's." Eleanor looked up, her eyes sharp, already searching for fault. "Water. Still. No lemon," she said. "Of course," Maya replied. Charles smiled apologetically. "And I'll have sparkling. Right away." Maya turned to leave, but Eleanor stopped her. "Make sure the glasses are spotless," she added. "Last time, there were streaks." Maya nodded once. "I'll check them myself." She didn't rush. She didn't roll her eyes. She didn't harden her expression. She simply did what she always did, treated the moment like it mattered. When she returned, the glasses were pristine. Eleanor inspected them, found nothing to criticize, and gave a brief nod that almost counted as approval. Almost. The evening moved on with the usual tension. Eleanor asked pointed questions about ingredients, preparation methods, and substitutions. Maya answered each one patiently, never stumbling, never snapping. At a nearby table, a couple whispered. "She's brave," the woman said softly. "I'd have lost it by now." Maya caught none of it. Or if she did, she didn't show it. When the entrees arrived, Eleanor paused again. "This isn't what I ordered." Maya leaned in slightly, checking the plate. "You ordered the pan-seared sea bass, no butter sauce, extra herbs." "That's what the chef prepared." Eleanor frowned. "It looks different." Maya smiled gently. "The herbs were fresh cut tonight. The color can vary." Eleanor stared at her for a long moment. Something unreadable flickered across her face. "Fine," she said at last. Charles reached for Eleanor's hand. "Everything okay?" "Of course," Eleanor replied, though her tone suggested the opposite. Maya moved on, tending to other tables, refilling glasses, clearing plates. She checked on the Whitmores often, but never hovered. Near the end of the meal, Charles excused himself to take a call outside. Eleanor sat alone, her posture stiff, her fingers resting untouched beside her plate. Maya approached with the dessert menu. "Would you like to see our dessert options, Mrs. Whitmore?" Eleanor didn't answer right away. "No," she said eventually. "I've lost my appetite." Maya hesitated, then spoke softly. "Would you like some tea instead?" "On the house." Eleanor looked up sharply. "Why?" Maya met her gaze. Not defensively, not challengingly. Just honestly. "Because sometimes a warm cup helps," she said. Something in her voice, unpolished, Sincere, caught Eleanor off guard. Fine, Eleanor said after a moment. Chamomile. Maya nodded and walked away. When she returned, she set the cup down carefully, aligning the handle just so. Steam curled upward, carrying the faint scent of flowers. Eleanor wrapped her fingers around the cup without lifting it. You're very calm, she said suddenly. Maya smiled slightly. I try to be, even when people are difficult. Maya paused. Especially then. Eleanor huffed softly. That must be nice. Maya didn't respond immediately. She stood there, present but not intrusive. My mother used to say, Maya added gently, that everyone is carrying something heavy. You don't always see it. Eleanor's grip tightened on the cup. That's a very convenient belief, she said. It excuses poor behavior. Maya shook her head. It explains it. Doesn't excuse it. Eleanor looked at her more closely now. Not as staff, not as background, but as a person standing in front of her. And what are you carrying? Eleanor asked. Maya considered the question. Today, she said lightly. Just tired feet. Eleanor's lips twitched despite herself. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Eleanor's voice dropped, losing its edge. You don't know anything about me. Maya nodded. That's true. And yet you're standing there, offering tea like you do. Yes. Why? Maya's answer came without rehearsal. Because I can. The simplicity of it landed harder than Eleanor expected. Charles returned moments later, cheerful and unaware. All good. Yes, Eleanor said quickly. But something had shifted. The check came. Charles reached for it, but Eleanor stopped him. I'd like to handle it, she said. She looked at Maya. And, thank you. Maya smiled. You're welcome. Take your time. As the Whitmores stood to leave, Eleanor paused. She reached into her purse, pulled out a folded card, and placed it on the table. For you, she said quietly. Maya glanced at it but didn't open it right away. Thank you, Mrs. Whitmore. Eleanor hesitated, then did something no one expected. Her shoulders trembled. Just once. She turned away quickly, composing herself, but not before a single tear slipped down her cheek and fell silently onto the polished floor. She left without another word. Later, during a lull, Maya unfolded the card. Inside was a short note, written in careful script. Kindness is rarer than wealth. Thank you for reminding me. Tucked beneath it was a tip that made Maya blink twice. Across the room, the door closed behind Eleanor Whitmore, the woman everyone feared. But as she stepped into the night, her face was softer than it had been in years.